Welcome to Best Most. I'm your host, Jose Jogo Gonzalez. This is the podcast where we ask the questions, what is the best or what is the most? For example, we ask questions like, what is the best snack and why? Or who is the most virtuous character in any movie? Before each episode, I ask our online community a question that our guests had chosen as our topic. I then go over the community answers with our guests, and we also discuss our own answers. You can check out and answer the questions at the best.most.pod Instagram page. Join the conversation. Our guest today is an old friend. I've known him for about 26 years. We were old bandmates in a band called Stalking Roxy. We almost drove into a store when I fell asleep driving us home. We've been to each other's weddings. He's a father, a husband, and has been a drummer for a great band called Corre Diablo. They have a new album called Monument. I would like to welcome a scarific guy, Saul Arredondo. Yo, bro.
What's up, dude? How's it going, man? Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Nice intro. That night, dude, when you almost drove us into the side of a liquor store, that memory will always forever stay. It's seared in my memory bank, dude. It'll be with me forever, dude.
Cool,
we can talk about that later.
I'm glad I'll always be in your memory forever. That's
dude. Cool. Yeah. I mean, we survived, so we didn't die. Yeah. So all good. We're here.
Yeah. So in a way, a good memory.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. So our question for this episode is, who is the most talented musician? As always, our guest chooses the question for the episode. Saul Arredondo, what made you choose this question?
Well, you sent me a list of questions, and I think it was like the third or fourth one, and I didn't even have to look at the other ones. I mean, I skimmed through them, but that one hit me right away because as soon as I read it, I had an answer right off the bat. So it was a no-brainer for me on this question. So, just an easy one for me.
It's also pretty fitting. When I saw that you chose that one, I thought it was pretty fitting. Just because I don't know, I see you as a really good musician, and I think that I think that's pretty important to you. So yeah. So let's go into the best most community answers and chime in whenever. Let's see. So Haran C chose Mozart, and just a little note that I'm adding is he was a child prodigy that composed over 800 works.
That's a deep cut. I would have never ever thought of a classical composer. That's awesome.
There you go. We have a few of those too that are like
really? Yeah.
Composers. Yeah.
Well, I mean, hey, my choice, also a composer.
True.
Way later in time, but also a great composer in his own right.
And in full transparency, I did ask Saul to send me his choice so I can kind of look into him a little bit. Let's see, moving along, No Mercy Dojo LB chose Frank Zappa, who is a pioneer of postmodern music.
That's a good one.
Did you ever get into Frank Zappa?
You know what? He was one of the musicians or, music artists that I didn't really get I don't want to say discovered because I had always heard the name, right? Growing up and getting into, different kinds of music, genres of music as I got older. I knew that he was a super prolific, talented artist, but I didn't really dive in. And everything that I've heard and seen, I definitely like and I've appreciated, but I've never given him the proper due in terms of just seeking out more Frank Zappa. But I have a lot of friends that are really into Frank Zappa. I never dove in, but I think I should. It's never too late.
But yeah, I think it's the same thing. I think it's one of those things I have to just dive into to really enjoy it.
He was an intellectual too. I've seen a couple of clips of him on YouTube talking about social issues and geopolitical issues and some really cool stuff that I was like, oh, cool, Frank Zappa, for the people, is he dead? Is he? He's dead, right?
Yeah, I think so.
He's okay. I think he might be long dead, right? Yeah.
So if he is not dead and we're totally wrong, I'll probably just edit this out.
Yeah.
But
yeah. I think he might be dead. Yeah, but yeah, Frank Zappa, cool guy, man. I got to dive into him.
Yeah, possibly R.I.P. So let's see.
Possibly.
Next one, David Garcia chose Beethoven. He said, dude was literally deaf and made some crazy pieces without any recording. And then I have a note here I put in, said, played a pivotal role in transitioning from classical to romantic music.
I mean, yeah, you got to be really good to be deaf and be a prolific composer. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So let's see. Redneck Fox 23, who you know as well.
All right, Brian. Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out, Brian.
He chose Freddie Mercury for vocal range
Mm,
and Danny Elfman for music composition.
those are, dang, Brian. Those are good. Yeah, very good.
So Zach Jumper, he said, whoever wrote Axel F, which was Harold Faltermeyer for the Beverly Hills Cop movies.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. That's that's a memorable riff for sure. I think everyone in our age range knows that piano riff, that synth riff. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, yeah, that's good.
Yeah. That's a cool little riff, cool little jam.
Yeah.
Let's see. Edero Di Carmona, my brother, he said Dave Navarro, who is a Jane's Addiction guitarist, or who is the Jane's Addiction guitarist, also played in Red Hot Chili Peppers from 1993 to 1998. Fun fact. The J5 on Jason.
Shout out, Jason.
What up, Jason Chavez? Technical musician, he said Jacob Collier, but straight talent Prince. Rick Peralta, he said, it's not the instrument, it's a songwriting. Billy Joel, who's a singer-songwriter, pianist, composer, and part of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yeah. No, dude, he wrote some jams, wrote some bangers.
A lot of them.
Moving out, dude. Yeah, dude.
That song is really good.
It's good stuff. That's a great song, man. It's a good record.
When I was looking through Danny's records and stuff, that was the first record that I put on at home, like on like the record
nice.
player.
Yeah,
and I was
on
like,
the turntable.
Yeah, I was like, holy shit, man. I've never realized how good Billy Joel was, but that song Moving Out is like a solid jam. Really good.
Yeah. I love the horn part. Yeah, I just, and dude, that riff. Bam, bam, ba-na-na, bam, ba-ba. Dude, that's such a good riff, dude. Like you would never think if that was like your first introduction to Billy Joel and not knowing that he was primarily like his band leader, like his instrument was the piano, and you heard that song, you would think that him and his band, like he's right there playing guitar, as a front man, because that riff is just it's so prominent in the song. It's such a heavy, like kind of like stank face, like head bobbing riff. I mean, that's such a good song, man. Yeah, dude. Shout out Billy Joel.
It doesn't feel like the rest of his songs to me. Like
not
when
at
I grew up,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Because I remember like he, what is it? That he didn't start the fire. That song, and also Uptown Girl, and
well, it was pop. It was like power pop, right? It was like the first Billy Joel. I kind of feel like gave birth to like power pop, piano power pop. You know what I mean? Like he kind of blazed that trail for a lot of like kids learning piano, right? And that loved rock and roll, right? So, all of his other songs are super pop forward, but that Moving Out song is nothing like his other like hits.
It had a little bit more grit to it, I think.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, definitely. That riff is, yes, that's a good word. It's a gritty riff. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And then let's see, Dr. Bass Forever, his answer was at Maxwell Styles Music. And then I asked, because I didn't know who that was, is this just your band? He said, yes. I think our leader, Max, is the most talented, followed by me. Then he did the what's up face. So I was like, I just wanted to include it because I'm like, yeah, it's cool. I mean, you got to shoot your shot. So yeah, hey,
yeah, sure,
Maxwell's style music, cool.
All right, shout out to Maxwell.
On that note, Saul Arredondo, who is the most talented musician?
Well, my pick for who the most talented musician is Prince. I chose Prince.
Solid pick.
Yeah. prolific songwriter. I think up until recently, I don't know if it was as widely known of how amazing of a guitarist Prince was. I think people, especially our age growing up in the late 80s, early 90s, we saw Prince as like just this kind of like tiny little flamboyant dude, just kind of like running around with like assless chaps on stage and wearing platform heels. Like, he was a showman. And I think that's kind of like the takeaway from growing up in that era as a kid. Like, you're like, oh man, this guy's just puts on a show. Like, he's got all these dancers, all these musicians.
Yeah.
And I kind of think that, not that it took away from his musicianship, but it was just, there was just so much going on. It was, almost kind of like a overstimulating for the senses, right? You're like, whoa, what is going on here, right? And then,
Yeah.
Later, as for me, as I got older, I started to kind of realize, how amazing of a musician Prince was, and I just remember as a kid, the first song that I remember hearing on the radio that it wasn't like, oh yeah, it's just some whatever. The radio's on, Kiss FM, whatever the pop
Yeah.
station was. Like 1999 was the first song that I heard that I really actually heard. If that makes sense, if that sounds corny, like it was the first song that like grabbed my attention, and I kind of realized like this is more than just some pop song on the radio. Like it's the first song that really like grabbed a hold of me as a little kid, and
Yeah.
And that was definitely as time went on, right, you discovering other genres and other musicians. I just kind of feel like Prince was always one of those guys that like I always had had an affinity for Prince, and even up
Mhm.
until adulthood, collecting records as a younger person, and just like buying up all his like stuff in his catalog, and um just yeah, man. Like I said, he's prolific and he's just a showman, and in my opinion, probably the best guitarist probably in rock and roll history, man.
Have you ever seen him live?
Dude, no, and that's a big regret, because I remember I would say like 2005, 2004, he had that Forum residency at the LA Forum, or when it was the Great Western Forum still, I think.
That was actually in 2011.
Was
Nope.
it?
Knows.
Oh,
The only reason I know is because I went.
oh, dude, that's awesome. Was it? Okay, I thought it was real. I thought it was like 2005, 2006 or something like that. Okay, cool. Yeah, dude,
Yeah.
yeah, man, 2011, crazy. Oh, that's awesome, dude. Dude, I'm jealous, man. I really wish I would have seen him. When I want to get a quick Prince fix, I always go to the George Harrison tribute, where they play My Guitar
Oh
Gently
yeah.
Weeps, and it's with all these like legends. I recently saw a an interview with the drummer Steve Ferrone, and he was talking about that tribute that they did, where they all got together and they all knew each other, and they all were kind of like in whatever like communication thread, like, okay, cool, we're gonna have this this session, and we're gonna play My Guitar Gently Weeps, and
Mhm.
we're just gonna meet up and we're just gonna jam it out, and we'll be good. So turns out that no one invited Prince. Like
Uh,
no one no one reached out to him. No one said, hey Prince, we'd like you to come play, we're doing this tribute to George Harrison. So they don't know how Prince caught wind of it, but it's Prince, dude. Prince
yeah.
has people, dude. Like, of course, Prince's people heard of it, told Prince, hey, they're doing this thing. And of course, Prince being Prince was like, oh, okay, I'm invited or not, I'm going to this and I'm going to play. So I guess his people or whatever reached out to somebody, and it all kind of, the day of, it all kind of started making the rounds, like, hey, Prince is coming up. What? Everyone was like why is Prince coming? Like, was Prince friends with George Harrison? Like, because everyone
Yeah.
there essentially was friends or had some sort of tie with George Harrison. And so they were all like, "What? That's so weird." But it's Prince, so no one's gonna be like, "No, Prince, you can't come," right?
Yeah.
So they show up. He shows up, and they I think he said they like he was super. Prince. I don't know if Prince is known for being super like quiet and kind of just to himself and isn't like this boisterous. Like it's so funny because he's boisterous like and just this huge personality when he's on stage, but like off stage he's just he was just this quiet guy, right? And
Super shy, I heard
yeah,
too.
yeah. And so um they I guess they go through it once. They went through it once and then Prince just disappears and then they were all like, "Hey, everyone's going to take turns riffing for whatever however many
Mm.
bars whoever wants to join in or whatever." And you've seen it, right?
I've seen it, yeah.
Okay. So what Prince does in the actual recording of it, he doesn't I think what it was is he didn't do that
Oh, during practice?
in
Yeah.
the rehearsal. Like they just, like, "Oh yeah, everyone will take like, however many bars." And so then Steve Ferroni was like, "Yeah," so like they weren't expecting it. So like everyone's reaction was like genuine. Like everyone was like, "What the hell's going on, dude?" So that whole video, dude, dude, I go back to that a lot, and anytime I want to watch Prince just shred in the most like legendary sort of ways, dude, I always go back, dude, and he
Yeah.
throws his guitar up in the air, and you never see the guitar land. It's like the guitar just like ascends into the heavens, dude. But yeah, dude. So yeah, man. I always go back to that, dude, and I just yeah, I love
Yeah.
doing deep dives on Prince, man.
He plays with a lot of feeling too. I remember watching that and thinking, dude, there's so much emotion in his playing, compared to everyone else, like
Yeah.
it's so fluid and just emotional. Um, yeah, I got to rewatch that. That was really cool.
Yeah, dude. After I'll send you that. I'll find that video of that drummer from that session, and you can see that his little story about the whole Prince joining up
Yeah,
unannounced, basically.
that's cool. Hell yeah.
Yeah, dude. But yeah, dude. Prince, prolific man, amazing songwriter.
Mhm.
Wrote
Yeah.
tons of songs for a lot of artists, and he had such a style the way he wrote his riffs and his melodies that even when you hear a song that wasn't recorded by him, you can tell like, oh yeah, that's a Prince song.
Yeah, a very signature sound that just
Hmm.
yes, I can see that. So Saul's choice was Prince, and my main pick is also Prince, but I to make it fun, I added honorable mention. So I did kind of pull a few different fun facts about Prince. Do you want to hear those?
Yeah, yeah, let's hear him.
So Prince's real name was Prince Rogers Nelson. He was named after his father's trio kind of band. He had a jazz trio or jazz combo band, which was called Prince Rogers Trio. He's a multi instrumentalist, played 27 instruments on his 1978 debut album, For You.
Yeah.
He he wrote his first song at the age 7 called Funk Machine.
That's awesome.
He changed his name to a symbol in 1993, becoming the artist formerly known as Prince. In 2006, he had 14 purple tickets inside his 3121 album, inviting winners to a concert at his home.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah, like Willy Wonka style.
Yeah.
Um, he was
Uh,
named after his father. Yeah, so he wrote Manic Monday for the Bangles,
mhm.
Nothing
Yeah, yeah.
Compares for Sinead O'Connor, I Feel For You for Chaka Khan. He wrote for Sheila E., Glamorous Life, Jungle Love for More Stay in the Time, and many more. And then he was born in Minneapolis, Minnesota on June 7th, 1958.
R.I.P.
We went to go see Prince, me and a former girlfriend. I think the tickets were free to us because her boss bought like two extra. Um, and we were at the Kia Forum, and at that point, it was a weird kind of stage. It was a rotating stage.
Mm.
So we were in back of the stage, like I'm talking about 4 rows from from the stage.
Dang.
So when it rotated, we were like super close.
Oh, that's awesome.
And you can see Prince. He was dressed like Peter Pan, like like fucking Peter Pan, but in white, like all white.
I love that, dude. That's that's
And
awesome.
it was crazy. The only thing about it was, so he played a bunch of his hits in a like a medley. So he didn't even play the full songs.
Mm-hmm.
But what was really impressive about him was, even though that was the case, I was a little bummed that that happened initially. But then, like,
Mm,
the rest of the show was like a dance party, dude, of songs I never
dude,
knew.
that's
But it
awesome.
was so it
Yeah,
was still super good. Like, I
yeah,
was really excited about it and just dancing along and enjoying it.
yeah.
Um,
I got to imagine seeing Prince live is pretty much just a dance party.
yeah.
I mean, dude, that's awesome, dude. I love that. That's cool.
And then a memory I had with my sister, my cousin Lawrence, and I would always watch Purple Rain as a kid on VHS, and we would always like pretend to be Prince. Like we would just, grab anything that looked like a microphone and just sing the
Uh,
songs and dance and act stupid. Do you have any memories with like Prince's music that you were like, oh, this is a fond memory?
quite honestly, the what I was talking about earlier, that was a core memory for me. I remember exactly where I was. I was in my dad's station wagon. We were getting ready to go somewhere, and I remember my dad gave the keys to me and my sister to get into the car and just start, you can turn the car so you can get the radio on. And we were sitting
Yeah.
in the back of the station wagon, and we turned the radio on in the car. And when we turned the radio on, the first song that popped on was 1999, and that I don't know why. I don't know why but it just hit me like a ton of bricks. That song, um, and that's pretty much been like from that time frame. Was
Mhm.
like a core memory, and I don't. I kind of feel like maybe that was like the beginning of me appreciating music for more than just sound and noise, right?
Yeah, yeah, like background noise.
Yeah, that was, probably almost kind of like some sort of like a musical awakening, really, even at that young of an age. So I would say w- that's probably, yeah, I got to say that is the main reason why I've always just I've had an affinity for Prince.
Yeah.
And then, just as I got older, learning more about him the amazing musician, that he became or that he was.
So do you, as a father, you have two girls, very
Hmm.
cool girls that seem very happy all the time, which is good. Um, so do you have you noticed any of that kind of thing happening with them? Like you're like, hey, this is a core memory of music that's connected to them that sticks out to you.
Yeah, for sure. I don't like to be the kind of like that pushes my musical tastes onto my kids, right?
You're like, hey, listen to this music because I liked it, so you have to like it.
But I'll kind of just lay it out. Maybe I'll play a song that I think they might enjoy, and then if I notice that they're like, "Oh, that was cool. What was that? Or who was that?" Then I kind of feel like I kind of like bait them a little bit,
Yeah.
and then once they say once they start asking questions like, "Who is that? What song is that? I like that song." Then I'm like, "Okay, got them." And then I just start playing more and more and more. I've done that with a couple of bands with my oldest daughter,
Mhm.
Lily. I've gotten her into The Cure. They're actually both my girls they like The Cure a lot, and Lily especially. I like playing female like singer songwriter artists for them,
Uh-huh.
just so they can see that like it's not just men out there that are writing the songs and super talented musicians. Like I like kind of
That's
letting
cool.
them discover, female. They so like Lily is really into like Rilo Kiley and like Waxahachie and which is a newer artist. So we took Lily to go see Rilo Kiley.
What a cool like band though, because like Jenny Lewis is like a badass like kind of front person, like a lot of confidence, like, just great voice too, great range.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And I mean, she was so stoked when we took her to the Greek to see her. So like that's for me, it's like a full circle moment, being a dad and being able to share that with my kids, like, especially like bands that like have had an impact on me.
Hmm.
Um, and like kind of, being able to impart that onto my kids. Right. Like I said, I never want to force anything on my kids. Never, music, art, sports. I kind of just want to, because those are things that I'm into. Right. And if they
Yeah,
see it and, just because they're there, and they start, the moment they start asking questions and I kind of can tell that their interest is peaked a little, like that's when I'll kind of like dive in and be like, oh yeah, well check this out. You know what I mean? Like, hey, let's listen to this. But so it's cool.
yeah,
Um, so like the kind of same experience that I had as a kid with like Prince, I hope that like when my girls are older, they'll have like an artist or someone that they really like enjoy still at that age where they can be like, oh yeah, I remember when like my dad played XYZ for me. And, so,
yeah,
I mean, I think it's important, I mean, because music is it connects us all, you know what I mean? So,
yeah,
I hope that,
absolutely.
they're able to have that same experience.
So I kind of think it's cool that you have that approach as far as like you're not like feeding them music that that you
Mm,
love, but it's I do think that they're gonna know you either way through the music that you play,
mhm.
and that's gonna create a formative uh memory as well too, and also connect you to them. And I think a way for them to get to know you or to know you as a
For
person.
sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. I think that, yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, because even like Danny, right? Who
Mm,
my stepdad.
mhm,
He
mhm,
I remember we would go into his we'd go to the store or something like that, and he'd throw on KLOS and play all these songs that were not stuff I was really into.
right.
But like now when I hear those songs, I'm like, hell yeah, like
Yeah,
it's such a
yeah,
good thing. So I think that your kids will definitely have that too as well. Like just when they're adults and be like, oh shit,
yeah,
that reminds me of my dad, and probably give them a smile or something.
yeah, absolutely.
I do have a runner up. My runner up is Paul McCartney,
It's a good one.
right? Yeah, and born June 18th, 1942 in Walton, Liverpool. Released 13 official studio albums while in the Beatles. Released over 19 solo studio albums and 7 official studio albums with Wings, not including best ofs. Paul played left-handed bass, played drums, guitar, and piano. Married photographer Linda Eastman and had 4 kids. Later, he remarried Heather Mills and had one child. One thing I always thought was Linda Eastman was the heiress to the Kodak
Hmm.
company or something. She was
Yeah.
not. That was a lie.
No.
She's not. No,
Yeah, because it's Kodak Eastman. Yeah, yeah. No, but that I think I've heard that before too. Yeah. So that's not true.
that's not true.
Uh,
Debunking that on Best Most. So
well, well,
recently
because
was
it's an
also
American company, so yeah, that makes sense. If she was British, no, whatever. No.
was she British? I don't think she was British.
She was American.
She was American.
Wow, dude.
Recently was a part of a documentary called Man on the Run, which depicts the Beatles' days up until he started his solo career. Have you seen that documentary?
No, no, I've heard of it though. It's pretty good.
It's really good. I don't, what's funny is I didn't know much about Paul and his solo career. I didn't really get into Wings or
Me
his solo
neither.
stuff.
There were a couple of bangers. There are a couple of Wings songs that are like, dude, that's a good song. But yeah,
Yeah,
I never got into Wings. Yeah,
yeah, like maybe I'm Amazed or Band on the Run. To me, were like
yeah.
really good songs, but I didn't really
Jet.
get into that. Jet, yeah, Jet's a good
Yeah,
song.
that's a good song.
But yeah, it's a really good documentary. I recommend it. And he's
Cool.
what's cool about it is that he's very candid about everything.
That's cool.
All the Beatles stuff too about John Lennon. You're like, damn man, this guy is getting pretty raw with this information.
Does he kind of like roast John Lennon? a bit.
He makes their relationship sound a little bit more human than has as iconic as it
Uh,
seems, and
mm,
um, he kind of roasts him a little bit, but I think now that he's in his later part of his life, he understands where John, the thought process of John, but also
yeah.
that John went through a lot of trauma and stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
but it's worth a watch.
There was two documentaries, right, that were like on
Hmm.
that like Disney did, right? Well, the
Yeah,
one was like kind of the I think it's when they're recording when they're like in the studio like trying to figure out and Let It Be. Was that that's it, right? It's for Let It Be.
I think so. I think so. Let It Be was this kind of puff piece that they did a long like years ago, and
Right, and it
then
was never released, right? Yeah.
something like that. But I don't know what it is because I had a bootleg copy of it. Uh,
Oh wow. Mm.
um, I think I
Was that
got
the one
a
that Peter Jackson did, or which one
s-
was the one that Peter Jackson did?
no. He did another one. He did one years later. So the one he did was extended footage of Let It Be, pretty much.
Okay.
Because what they did
Yeah.
was they try to make them seem a little less like again human and less uh upset at each other in Let It Be.
Right.
So the
Yeah.
Peter
Right.
Jackson one, they actually all hanging out, so it's a little bit
Yeah.
more like you could tell they were just over it.
Yeah. Just because in watching those, like, man, dude, John Lennon was a dick, man. Like,
Yeah.
I can totally. I mean, I know, like, because he's not here to defend himself, and but like, dude, I mean, George Harrison is my favorite Beatle, and I just always like now, like when I see stuff like George Harrison was right to have a chip on his shoulder, man, because
Yeah.
he was just as talented of a songwriter, if not. I mean, dude, he wrote some amazing hits, right? Like, but I kind of feel like John, especially, like, wouldn't. I almost kind of feel like he didn't take George seriously
Mhm.
as like a good songwriter. He took him, he's like, yeah, he's a good songwriter, but he didn't take him. I feel like he didn't take him seriously as like a great songwriter. And I
Yeah.
kind of feel like Paul, the way I viewed it, like, Paul was kind of like maybe caught in the middle, like of that. And I don't know. I just feel like all these like documentaries that have come out, like I was talking to Jason about this the other day. Like, it just kind of makes me feel like I just like John Lennon less and less. You know what I mean? And just I don't know. But
Well, I felt the opposite for some reason. I don't know what
oh, really?
when I watched the newer documentary, not the Paul McCartney one, but the other one that that we're talking about, I thought John Lennon was chill. Like he was fairly chill the whole time. And there's certain part I remember there's one part where Paul and George were bickering about something. And then I think John says, "Why don't we try it both ways and we'll see which one works best."
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
And I thought that was like that's pretty fair of him. Um, and for some reason, I liked George less in these movies because I mean, but
Yeah,
rightfully
he
so.
does. Yeah, rightfully so. He has his little fit right when he leaves,
The whole
and
time he's just like,
yeah,
"Fuck
yeah.
this, dude." He's over it.
Well,
He's like
because
completely over
he's
it.
fed up. Because he's fed up. Definitely, I get it. Yeah, yeah,
Understandably, and I mean, they pretty much screwed George over quite a bit.
yeah, yeah.
But I think what happened was that he played piggies, and they're like, "Yeah, never mind."
I don't know, dude. I guess I'm just biased, dude, when it comes to George because he's always
He
been my favorite. I mean,
he's
um,
great, dude. He like I didn't get into his solo album or solo stuff until years later.
yeah. Say, me too.
All Things Must Pass is like a great album.
That's like a top 10 rock and roll album,
Yeah.
dude. It's so good. Yeah, yeah, for sure. I think that's probably why I ended up liking George Harrison so much more. Because as I got older and got into his solo stuff and just All Things Must Pass is an amazing, amazing record.
He just I think he's a talented musician, amazing guitarist, and I think he has a cool ass voice. Great songwriter. I think anything a lot of stuff I've seen of George, he seems just over it at all times. Even like when they're younger, he's just like, "Well, I don't know, I guess so. I mean, whatever." Like it's like,
I
dude,
think you know what, dude. That's the chip on his shoulder, dude. I was talking about earlier. Like I don't blame him. I don't blame him for having that kind of attitude because that's like there's a lot of egos in that band, right? Like
yeah.
three talented songwriters. Like And I kind of feel like George kind of was always like got like the shitty end of the stick. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't fully blame him. Um, and I do like, I don't know, but I like those documentaries because again, you get to see like
They're
again
good. Yeah.
Paul McCartney, dude. He seemed like he was pretty desperate to get them on track too.
Hmm. Yeah, for sure. Um, yeah, it's watching those documentaries, man. Just watching their process. Um, like how they would just write iconic songs just
Hmm.
day of in the studio and be like, all right, cool, let's record it. Like, dude, that's kind of like the dream, right? Being in a band and being a musician, like where that's essentially your job is just to like write hits, right? Write music and
Yeah,
sit with your best friends, right? Or people that enjoy their company, right? And that, you respect as musicians and you just sit and write music, man. And then you record it, dude. That's like,
yeah,
you're living the dream right there, right? So like it's so cool to see them like in those sessions, like just like, yeah, cool riff. Let's write a song. They would just write a song right there and then
yeah.
record it, dude. And dude, it's awesome.
Well, also like forming their songs. We both have been in bands and played in all that stuff, like in practice, writing music and everything. Watching that, it was kind of comforting to me. Like watching
Yeah,
these guys seeing them as such huge icons and these amazing like rock gods or whatever music gods, and then you watch them and you're like, oh, this all looks fairly familiar. Like,
hmm,
and I thought that was
yeah,
kind of nice to
that is
watch too.
cool. That is very cool. Yeah,
You do that, like you guys, your band does the same. Like, I'm not saying does the same thing, but like at least for my band, you sit in a room and not quite recording, but like you sit in a room and you hammer out a song, and it takes a good while. And the four of you or five of you, however many people in the band, that's like the process. And it's like watching the Beatles do that same process. You're
yeah,
like, dude,
yeah,
that's cool to see that. And you see their strengths and you see kind of all these things. It's again, it's familiar in the way that every band it dispels the idea that people just it's just there. Like
right.
although
Yeah,
it's a given, you get to watch it and you're like, dude, yeah, we've all been there.
yeah, yeah, and yeah, exactly. We've all been there. It's so it is a nice feeling to watch. Yeah, musicians that you admire and you aspire to be able to get to that level someday, right? I mean, in terms of not necessarily fame and all that stuff, but just
Yeah.
songwriting, right? And you're like, oh man, like we're all the same and we're all in the same boat, right? And that whole creative ocean, right? Like
Hmm.
we're all traversing the same sea. So no, that's cool.
It's like an unsung fraternity in a way.
For sure. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. That is a good way to look at it, right? I appreciate all, bands and musicians that are out there trying to like just create, dude, like
Yeah.
just make music, man. And it's cool to see bands have like, the same processes as like legendary musicians, right? So,
Yeah. And I think it's kind of weird, man. I think at getting older, watching any band play, I can't shit on a band anymore. Like I
mm-hmm,
feel like it might
mm-hmm,
not be my thing. It might not be the kind of music I'm into or whatever. I might not be feeling it, but I definitely give credit to almost every band because it's like taking hours out of their day just to write songs, to really like hone them and do whatever they need to do. I I think that's also a part of this podcast where it's like I want to bring up people's likes and what they enjoy because it's all valid. So
yeah, for sure. I came across this phrase not that long ago where I don't want to yuck anyone's yum, right? Of course I have
yeah,
my tastes and things that I'm into, right? But if people are into that, cool. Like I don't want to yuck their yum, right? Like that's I can appreciate, you know, the courage that it takes um to to because being a musician and writing music, there's a huge sense of vulnerability in that, right?
hmm,
Like here's a part of me, right? Like essentially that's what it is, right? You're taking a
yeah,
part of yourself and you're putting it on to a, a guitar or a piano, and you're it's the most vulnerable way that you can show who you are is writing a song and playing it in front of people. Like you can
Yeah.
write tons of songs and record them in your computer and just have them for yourself, and which is all good and great, but like you want to share that too, right? And I think that it takes, I commend every musician and every band that has the courage to do that and get on the stage and just be the most vulnerable that you'll ever be in your life. I
Yeah.
mean, when and that's just art, right? Like is you can't make art without being vulnerable.
Hmm.
Um and that's all across the board, right? Whether you're a poet, a songwriter, a painter, a sculptor, right? It all takes a certain amount of vulnerability, and I appreciate that of every musician. My band played a show a couple weeks ago, um, and we were the oldest band on the bill, which happens
Yeah.
often. Um, but there were these kids that played, and they played some covers and they played some originals, but they were kids. They were like high school age kids,
Yeah.
and they, you can totally tell that they're good musicians for their age, but they're
Hmm.
still owning their craft. They're still learning. And I was so like, me and the rest of the guys in my band were watching them, and we were like kind of in awe a bit, and we were super appreciative of these kids, because it's like that's where it begins.
Yeah.
That's where it starts, right? Like you and I, right? Like, back in our day when we were like 17, 18,
Yeah.
19, when we were in a band together, like, like look at us, we're still playing music, right? We're in our
Yeah.
40s and we're still doing it, right? And not because we're trying to make it, right? I've been past that for a lot of years, right? But
Hmm.
I can't not play music and write music, right? And so it's so nice to see kids that age doing what we were doing at that
Yeah.
age, and seeing them just putting it all out there and being super vulnerable, man. That was awesome. And like I said, like you can't be in a band, a musician, a songwriter of any sort, and without, you know, putting yourself out there and being super, super vulnerable.
Yeah. And you don't know, especially at that age, you don't even know what you're doing. You're just like,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
play some chords, I guess, and then.
Wow.
But
Wow.
I had a situation like that happened where a friend asked me to judge a battle of the bands for their
Uh-huh.
like their music school, and I was like, sure, that'd be awesome. It was such a, because I don't know, man. I haven't really been playing music a lot. I have been kind of semi-retired in a way, but but um I went to go to do this whole thing. I went to go judge this battle of the bands, and it really kind of made me feel really amazing after, because I watched these little kids just fucking do their thing, dude, and it was kind of cute, but it was also like, because they're so like, they're like scraggly little kids that are playing like Rage Against the Machine or something like
Yeah.
that,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they're like full on going into it and getting into it. And I'm like, dude, man, this is so amazing. Like, this is so cool that these kids have this weird confidence that it just works. And like, it just, yeah, made me think of like, practicing in the backyard or a garage
Yeah. Yeah.
and really just going for it. And it kind of like made me feel, it kind of touched my heart a little bit. And it made me leave kind of feeling like rejuvenated and like understanding why I even did it in the first place.
Right. For sure. And then there's like a sense of like hopefulness, right, for the next
Mm.
generation. Like, um, that's definitely like, yeah, I totally see that. Like leaving that place and like just being excited, right? Like, what,
I felt
like,
proud, dude. I felt really proud of
yeah,
all of them. I was like, "Ah, I
yeah,
hope you enjoy this. Keep going. Like, this
yeah,
is the fun
yeah, yeah,
part, you know?"
right, yeah, exactly. Like do it as much as you can while you can, because then you grow up, and then life gets in the way, and
Yeah.
but
Or
that's
egos
definitely,
or anything,
yeah,
or the
yeah,
seriousness of it gets in the way. Like, it's when it's
yeah,
fun, like when you're a kid, you're like, "Oh, dude, this is just like it's hanging with your friends and playing
right.
music and being stupid," you know? And I think that's the best time.
Yeah, dude, you're carefree, man. That's yeah, a lot of good memories from back in the day. Late teens, early 20s.
Yeah.
Just playing around town and
Yeah,
packing all your gear.
your band being called Scarific.
Yeah, and yeah, dude, it's you take those things with you for the rest of your life.
Yeah, dude. Just a quick thing with that. We were in a band called Stalking Roxy, and this girl went to our one of our practices. I don't know why. I think she was just in the practice space. It
Mm.
was and what happened was this girl and her friends were there, and we're like, "Hey, do you want to listen to our band?" And she went into our practice space, and we played a couple of songs or something. And she was really into ska, and she was like, "Whoa, that was ska-rific." And I think at that age, Phil, one of our other friends who was also on the show at some point, earlier episodes, Saul and myself were just like, we couldn't let it go. We were like, "Oh my god,
Well,
ska-rific, huh?"
yeah, who were those girls? Like I vaguely remember that like they just showed up out of nowhere.
They saw us.
Yeah.
They saw us at another. They saw us at a show before that. And what was
Ah,
weird was like Stalking Roxy was weirdly well known in Southgate, like crazy well known. I
yeah,
think.
yeah, in that whole like central LA area. Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess she had seen us at one of the shows, and she had talked to us before, and then we had seen her in the hallway at some place. She was there
Or
at
just
another.
invited her to practice or something.
Yeah. But yeah,
Yeah.
I was she's like, "It's
Weird.
scarific." And we're like,
Scotterific. Show
yeah,
me your
we're
Scotterific tattoo.
right.
That's a, I knew you had it on the inner
I know.
bicep right there, dude.
Checkers, yeah.
It's checkers all around it.
Yeah.
Uh, oh,
Cool. Well, on that note, let's see. Well, that has been our episode. Saul, thanks for joining me on this little journey. Did you have fun?
yeah, man. Yeah, dude. Thanks for having me, man. I hope I wasn't too long-winded. I know I warned you a little bit beforehand, but no, this was fun, man. Talking musicians that we admire and that we love, and just talking about our past experiences and memories, dude. No, dude, this has been great, dude. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. Well, thanks for coming, and yeah, thanks for being on. Is there anything that you would like to promote or shout out?
Yeah, sure. My band, Corre Diablo, we have a new full-length LP out. It's streaming everywhere where you find music, and it's called The Monument. So yeah, we got some shows coming up in the very near future. So yeah, find us on all the social stuff. That's Corre Diablo.
Thank you to anyone who answered our question. Also, thank you for listening. If you're listening and want to know where to find the questions for future episodes, add best.most.pod on Instagram. Also, rate, like, comment, subscribe. I truly appreciate it. And remember, there are no guilty pleasures when it comes to music, movies, and all art preferences. Love what you love, enjoy what you enjoy. That connection is such a gift. And until next time, take care and take care of each other. Bye bye.
Peace.